Football fans, Gooners, welcome to another edition of the Positively Uncensored Arsenal. I'm your host, Shotta, and right next to me virtually is my friend and my expert, Blackburn George. How you doing, George?
I'm all right. Good fun, this, isn't it, every week?
Yeah, well, the last few weeks is all good news. Before we get into the show, George, just want to remind our very loyal viewers, listeners, hardcore. Remember to put comments in the after the podcast in YouTube. It helps with the interaction. It really does. I want to thank you for sticking with us. I'm sure George does, and I do see the likes. But make your comments. George and I chat a lot of shit sometimes, and I'm sure I'm very sure of that. Please, contest the things we say or add something to what we say. I, for one, don't remember all the things that have accumulated in my mind over the years. I know I make a lot of flubs from time to time. Correct me when I'm wrong. What about you, George?
Oh, yeah. Tell us how stupid we are.
That's right. Yesterday...
Not that I need reminding.
Yeah, I just remind me of some shit I wrote on Twitter yesterday. But, guys, to the meat of the matter. George, this is our Burnley Arsenal match review. The mighty Arsenal, George, was too much for Burnley. It was, I'd call it a cakewalk, literally, up to the 66th minute. Your thoughts on the game, George? Your immediate first impressions of the game?
Well, Burnley were rubbish, weren't they? Just like Liverpool were rubbish and West Ham were rubbish and Crystal Palace were rubbish. It's great that we keep playing these teams and they're rubbish. They seem to do all right against other teams, though. But anyway, what can you say? We're playing unbelievably efficiently now. But what's impressive, more than the glut of goals, and it has been a glut of goals as well, is how few chances we're giving up. I mean, I think they've had a 0.2 XG over 3 games.
Really?
You think, fucking hell. Not only are we not conceding, they're not even getting a chance.
Yeah, the commentator team made that remark that the last 3 games, the opponents, now I got to look back at Burnley, they only had 1 shot on target. And we're talking about Liverpool, we're talking about West Ham. And yeah.
Teams that make chances, I mean, Liverpool particularly, you expect it, but they're not getting a chance. And Mikel Arteta's making mugs of people who are criticising him, and that includes me.
Exactly. Both of us.
It's good that we're playing so well, but I'm sick of eating humble pie at the moment. I'm full up. Choking me, it's that far up my throat. But, what can you say? No chances conceded, rakes of goals flowing all over the place, every player contributing. I said months ago that I thought Kai Havertz was going to be a flop.
Yes.
But that Mikel Arteta had proved me wrong in the past, and there was a chance he could do it again. Well, blow me, the fucker has done it again.
Well, George, he blew by the right back yesterday on a dribble, nutmeg another central defender, and blast one in the back of the net. They called me surprised, George. I was shocked, and I had to tweet that out. I'm sure a lot of people were.
Yeah, he's he has strengths and he has weaknesses. His weaknesses, his movement in the box to get on the end of things to score. But his strength is his movement in the box to make space for other people.
Mm-hmm.
So, he's a different type of player, and it's effective. Thankfully, we've stopped playing him expecting him to do the Granit Xhaka role.
Yeah.
But that said, him and Trossard seem to be sharing it between them, that position and the false nine, interchanging, and it's confusing the fuck out of everybody, including me. I don't know what the fuck's going on all of the time. And that's just watching it on TV. So I'm sure on the field that the opponents are wondering what's going on, because the changing of positions, the movement to change positions, pulling people out. This one goes, the other one moves in, and they're basically doing the old one midfielder goes and one stays.
Yes, as the old.
Or one fullback makes a run and the other one sits back. They're basically doing it in that number 8 position, whereas going between number 8 and number 9, and it's confusing the fuck out of everybody, and they're both doing it well. I mean, I noticed from the stats that Trossard only had a pass accuracy of 50%.
Yeah, which is so misleading, George. It was misleading because he was in the heart of the Burnley defense most of the time, and they were crowding him.
But I'm thinking he must think he's Kevin De Bruyne, that's one stat that doesn't matter. So anyway, they're playing well. They're all playing well. They all contributed. I mean, Trossard missed some chances yesterday, but so did everybody. Misses chances. Look at bloody Haaland yesterday playing for Manchester City.
Yes, that.
It's not like we're the only players that miss chances.
Yeah. George, I've been waiting for an opportunity to validate what you said. I brought up the Premier League match stats, and it shows that Burnley had 0 shots on target. Arsenal had 7. I mean, it's not that they didn't try. They fired away mostly from beyond. But, they never really got into what you call what we used to call danger zone.
Yeah. Scoring zone.
The scoring zone. They hardly ever got in there, if ever.
No. It must be very frustrating for these teams.
Yes. But
because I mean, you got to give Arteta credit here.
Mm-hmm.
There is no way can you call us a defensive team.
No.
We're simply not a defensive team. But defensively, phenomenal. Now, that's such a rarity. In fact, I can't think of it. I can't think of a team that's done it in the past. The Invincibles, that sort of team, they kept chances down because they were always in the opposition's half. But even then, they gave up a lot more chances than this team. This team's giving up no chances, but playing, attacking football. I can't think of another team that's done it. I really can't.
It's either maybe it's a system he has developed. George, we are amateurs. I am an amateur. I don't know. I can't put my finger on it. But one thing I know is that the fellow we bought from West Ham, Rice, has made a difference defensively. He's very mobile. He gets back when there's danger. He makes like a back 5, but he is a roving. He's not static. He's not like these defensive midfielders who just patrol in midfield. He joins up in the attack, and that's just my theory, George. I'm rambling.
Well, yeah. The thing is, Declan Rice, if I have to describe him, I'd say Declan Rice is everything that we were told Thomas Partey would be, but wasn't.
Right. Correct.
It's chalk and cheese. And I still see people saying how much Partey will improve the team when he comes back. He's not playing.
They're not convincing me. But, George, the problem is that Partey is the prototypical defensive midfielder that we as supporters of the English game and the European game have come to expect. The stereotypical big black guy, strong, with a little touch. And Declan Rice is a white guy who has a much broader skill set, and I think that people fail to recognize. They're stuck in this stereotypical mode. If you know what I mean, without being racially offensive. And I'm a black man.
So what you're basically saying is, Declan Rice is white, and they're usually fucking useless at being a DM.
Well, this is a stereotypical thing, and I've seen people put this, kind of hint this on Twitter and elsewhere. Declan Rice is a superior footballer, and he has superior football intelligence to Thomas Partey, and he probably is just as strong. You go in the weight room, he's probably pumping iron better than he does. Let's stop the nonsense. That's my 2 cents.
Well, yeah, but Declan Rice has made a big impression on the team. I said when we signed him that the loss of Xhaka would not be made up by the addition of Declan Rice.
Yeah, I remember that. You're going to be eating a lot of humble pie today, George.
And I seem to have got that wrong as well. I still think we miss. I mean, imagine Xhaka in this team now. Fucking hell. Yeah. But he's gone, and we've just got to get on with that. But you can't. Apart from the blip over Christmas,
right,
which was shocking, by the way.
But we had a podcast that says that there was a major slump, and we were saying there need to be a rethink. Well, they went to Dubai and they did do a rethink, George.
Yes, and they came back, and I'm sure they came back just to make me look stupid.
Both of us, not you alone.
So yeah, Martinelli and Saka are much better than they were prior to the break. Yes. Much better. We've got away from playing Havertz in that Xhaka role. That's improved us. And I hate to say it, but we look more solid with your boy Keogh.
Keogh, yes. He gives me a lot of problems with that pronunciation.
And we're not missing Zinchenko.
Yes.
Zinchenko.
George, four centre backs, by the way, across the back line. It's very hard for these.
Yeah. But two of them able to go forward and join in play, which again is a bit of a rarity. It's all good at the moment. I mean, I watched Manchester City yesterday, and I wax lyrical about City as much as anyone for someone who supports a different team. I think they're a phenomenal squad and team. But watching them yesterday thinking, we can beat these fuckers at the Etihad.
Because they do concede.
They give up chances.
Yes.
We don't. So, I still think man for man, they're the best squad in the world. But it doesn't mean that they're going to beat us.
Yeah.
And that's the game, Shotta. Everything. Yes, that's the game.
That's the main, yeah. Because we have George. It's hammer and tongues, and the only I think Liverpool, you can't take losses like the boy from Portugal yesterday. The two people got injured. You just pardon me, what's his name again?
Jota.
And the midfielder, Curtis Jones. You can't take losses like that and it don't affect you going on the home stretch. And that, I think, is their problem. I think they're thin, thin.
I'm not sure about that. I think they've got plenty of firepower still. They've got Salah and
Yeah, I know. Well, he makes a difference.
And
Yeah.
they've got enough. They've got as much as us, even with their injuries going forward. But they're not as strong as midfield as us.
And defensively.
And they're certainly not as strong defensively. And we showed that 2 weeks ago.
Although Henderson came back and has been a difference in their back line.
Henderson?
Yeah, people don't like him, but he's a good player. They're right back.
He didn't play for Liverpool. That's the problem.
Yeah. Just mentioning that. Yeah.
He's playing in Netherlands now. What's Henderson got to do with it?
What's the other? See, a white guy. What's the guy who came back from injury for them? I'll get it in a second. He can play both right back and left back. He's the
Robertson.
A son of a Hender, a son of a Robert. Same bullshit to me, George. Yeah, that's telling you how much I want. My mistake, anyway. Yeah, no excuses on that. Yeah, Robertson.
Shevchenko moment.
Yeah. Well, we both do that. George, I was gonna say I want to make a point here that we discussed before. This great upturn in our form, and it's not just form but improved play. It doesn't seem to have excited at least our fans and supporters. Or am I missing something? I mean, we have been waxing positive for the last 2 or 3 weeks, but it doesn't. Is that reflected in how fans see the team right now? Your thoughts?
Well, I think a lot have, but it's certainly not exciting Mikel Arteta's critics. they're having a fucking miserable time of it.
Yeah. Well, George, you can say there's one thing for what you've always said. You're not calling for Mikel Arteta's head.
Never did.
Yes.
But I still say he made some terrible mistakes early doors, which cost us literally hundreds of millions. But we are where we are, and you can't complain right now. It's fucking marvellous. And like I say, I've never seen the likes of it. I've never seen a team this solid that can attack and does attack most of the time. I've just not seen it.
A point that Arteta critics make is he didn't play Gabriel in the earlier part of the season, but it came out a week or so ago that the Saudis made a 170, let's call it $150 million bid, more or less, and that the player was unsettled, and obviously Arteta didn't want an unsettled player on the field, and that really put that matter in perspective for me. But what about you?
Yeah, if you can believe that. I'm not sure that just because somebody says that that was the truth.
They're great at PR. We know that. They have a massive PR complex behind them. Guys, never forget that.
It makes me laugh, really, because you see things in Twitter that supposedly a journalist has said, or what do we used to call them? Insiders, transfer insiders.
Yes, and the journalists that are
in the know people.
Yes, right. That was a term.
Somebody said, and if they say something that suits your point of view, it's believed 100%, and it becomes fact. But if it doesn't agree with you, it's absolutely rubbish, and it never happened, and there's no truth to it at all.
Yeah.
And this is one of those cases that people don't want to accept that Gabriel should have been playing. So this is a reason to think Mikel got it right, and everybody. Now, it may be the case, but I'm not accepting it as fact.
Or at face value.
I don't think somebody's offered £150 million for him. I just don't think they have.
Well, I'm just saying that, there might have been good reasons, and people.
Yeah, there might. I'm not arguing with you. I'm not saying that there wasn't. I'm saying that some people will believe it as fact, and some people will dismiss it as rubbish. the exact same story.
Yes.
And I just don't know. And nobody knows. But whatever it is, he's playing now and he's playing well, and his partnership with Saliba across that is phenomenal. Right. Absolutely phenomenal. And David Raya, now...
Yeah, the argument is over, right, George?
No, but I can't see people crying for Ramsdale now. And you think, well, he's not as good. They said he wasn't as good a shot stopper as Ramsdale. Well, it don't fucking matter.
Right.
He's not having to make any stops.
I don't believe that though, because at Brentford he was facing a lot of shots, George.
He was a top-rated goalkeeper for saves last season.
See what I mean? Yeah.
But we're now pretending that he's not good at shot stopping when he was the best in the league last season.
I didn't know that.
His distribution is absolutely different class to Ramsdale. And his speed of thinking, his decision-making, he commands the area better. Mm-hmm. Whether he always gets his positioning right or not, it seems that that's how he's being told to play rather than how he chooses to play. Sometimes he seems to be a bit too far off his line. Yes. But the fact that he's done it and he's still doing it and he continues to do it would tell me that that's how he's being told to do it, rather than how he's choosing to do it. Because if he was getting that wrong, they would have stopped it months ago. George, they would have stopped it out months ago.
I've stopped listening to bull crap, because at Arsenal there's like 3 professional goalkeeping coaches. At least 3, George. Yeah. They work with all 3 keepers, and there's a hierarchy, and they tell you what the hell you must do. I don't. Anyway, there's just too much unfounded opinions at Arsenal, and people need to admit we're not professionals. We are fans making observations, sometimes valid, but most times
the bollocks.
Yeah, bollocks. Yes, George. We made a big point last week about the player performances, and I want to, this again, going back to who scored. I thought the first 11 was brilliant, but football stats can be funny, but nobody was rated less than a 7. Well, they gave David Raya 6.73. He probably didn't have anything to do. That's why they gave him 6.7.
Yeah, what the hell did he do wrong?
Yeah, he didn't do anything wrong, you see. But George, again, no, they gave Saliba 6.98. I am so wrong on this. But I thought it was a high level of performance. The pass accuracy was in the 80s for most players. Of course, Trossard was down to 50, but he was in the middle of everything. Gabriel was at 94.4%. Ben White, 95% literally. George, your comments on this? I'm rattling on.
Yes, they're all good numbers. I mean, that last week was crazy. Absolutely crazy. Which makes me wonder if they were actually accurate, that they were so mad. But I don't think everybody had a good game.
Yes.
Everybody played well, if not brilliantly.
Yeah.
And that's what a team's about. It's about everybody playing well together, not individuals having screamers of a game. That's what average teams do. Yeah. They have a standout player that one day works miracles and raises the bar for the team, and they achieve stuff that they shouldn't really achieve because he had an individually great game. Liverpool used to be like that with Gerrard.
Yes, yes.
They were okay, but on some days he had a great game and they looked special. But that's not Arsenal.
When he had a poor game, he cost them the title.
Yeah.
Them Baba.
You gotta feel sorry. You gotta feel sorry for the poor fucking boy.
Yeah, I know he has to live with that for the rest of his life.
I mean, when you think that it was against Chelsea's, Mourinho's Chelsea as well. I mean, you know, you wouldn't wish that on anybody, would you?
Yes. But George, I'm not likely that you get away with it, and I think the audience, if you're still with us, Martin Odegaard was again had a sterling performance. No, I didn't focus on who was there, but by the ratings they gave, it would have been Martin Odegaard as the man of the match with a 9.13. He scored a goal. But George, isn't Odegaard our most important player? I mean, I know you spoke about Gerrard, and you don't want it. We don't put him in that kind of, one man show that Liverpool once had. But Martin Odegaard, isn't he proving himself to be the
Cesc Fabregas of the current team, I would say.
Yeah, yes. Your thought?
That's how highly. That's high praise. If you know that he's the Cesc Fabregas of this team. I'm not saying he's the same player as Cesc.
Yes.
But he's that pivotal to the team. He makes it tick. I mean, it was Xhaka previously that tended to control the pace of the game, etc. But I think it's Martin Odegaard now, and he's a wonderful player, playing wonderfully.
I'm eating humble pie, George, because I had my doubts about him the first year we brought him over on loan, and the second year. Your thoughts on again?
Well, I never had any doubts about him.
I
didn't. But, you did. But geez, I'm not gonna. I've long since stopped reminding people how they got things wrong because watching now.
Yeah. And I know what I'm trying to say. It's important for us as fans to have a perspective and not get carried away with the emotion of the moment. So, George,
the thing is, you think how wonderful he is, and he is.
Yes.
But you look at, they were saying how many chances he creates. He creates a chance every 37 minutes or something. And only Cesc Fabregas, 32 minutes, created chances more often. Apart from, of course, Mesut Ozil, who was once every 27 minutes, which is 33% better than Martin Odegaard. But apparently, he was a fraud. And we got him wrong. And he wasn't fit to wear the shirt. So, you make of that what you will. But Martin Odegaard is a great player for us at the moment.
George, you want me to make?
But he's not a kick in the shirt off it.
You want me to make up that what I will? The debasement, the defamation of Ozil. It's a massive PR campaign, and the influencers and the club has employed the media and the social media influence. When I say mainstream media, that's what it is, and people have swallowed it hook, line, and sinker. And I'm glad you made the statistical observation. What about our chances going forward, though, George? I mean, remember last week you said you're beginning to think we can beat any and everybody in the league, and obviously we're not saying that we'll go unbeaten the rest of the season.
No. I said last week that it would be if City could go unbeaten for the rest of the season, but no, I said City could win every game for the rest of the season, and there they go, make another fucking fool out of me. They go and drop points the very next game.
Chelsea was competitive though, George. They surprised me.
Yeah, but we have to play them again shortly, haven't we? We have to play them soon.
Yes,
and they're coming into some sort of form. But even so, I don't. It all boils down to how will we do at Manchester City. If we can split the points or beat them, we have an excellent chance of being in it right up until the end. I'm not saying we'll win it, but we'll be in the mix right until the closing few games. And that's all you can ask, really, isn't it? Given the wealth and power and consistent way that they win trophies, just to challenge them realistically until the end will be quite an achievement, whether we win it or not. But I think we can win it. If we continue to play like this, if we continue to not give chances and score goals, well, that's top-class football. Top-class football.
By the way, our goal difference is now the top 35 or 36.
Yeah, you see, that's another bit of fucking shoveling more fucking humble pie in. You know? It's only about 2 months ago I was saying, we're not as good as we were last year. We're scoring less. We're conceding more. We're going backwards. And Mikel Arteta just brought this big lump of fucking humble pie, stuffed it in my mouth, choked me on it. We now are scoring fucking loads of goals, more than we did, and we're conceding less. So I was wrong about that as well. So there's no end to my stupidity at the moment. When you introduced me at the beginning, calling me an expert, I would really seriously think about revising that introduction every week.
Well, you're my expert, George. Guys, I'm not very self-flagellating mood. We're going to end this podcast, but I think Arsenal is up to something. We are.
Yeah. And I think we'll fucking smash Porto on Tuesday night, is it?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I'll try to watch a Champions League game, the second round. This is the real business end. Yeah. On that positive note, George, I think that we just call this podcast an end. And again, thank our very loyal listeners and viewers for sticking with us. Especially as we choke on humble pie. Thank you, George.
Thanks. See you next week.
All right, George. After Newcastle, don't forget, that could be a very competitive game. Bye, folks. Bye, George. Bye. Bye.